Who will be the villain in The Batman 2? Let's find out. Batman undoubtedly has the widest variety of villains to choose from for film adaptations, and with Matt Reeves' adaptation from earlier this year ranking up as their highest grossing film of the year, out of 5, a sequel, along with whatever the hell Matt Reeves wants to make, is undoubtedly in the works, but the plot details, including the villain, have been kept under wraps, and since y'all loved my video on who will be the next Black Panther so much, I thought I'd start my own speculation on who will be the best villain to follow up the events of the first Batman movie. So, to start with, let's recap where the first movie left off. In that movie, Batman's goal was to bring Gotham City back on its feet, and his conflict was that the entire city was against him and continuing to destroy itself. The Riddler knew the city was corrupt and was trying to expose that, which was why he was attempting to destroy the city after he did so. Batman makes a sacrificial move to prevent the people of the city from dying by the hand of his followers, and because of that sacrificial move, it allows the people of Gotham to trust him and inspired them to do good charitable work for the sake of the city. So now, Batman has become the symbol for good that inspires everyone around him to rebuild the city. So, because Batman inspires other people to do good, the best kind of villain for the next film would be one that would attempt to ruin that reputation for him and make him come off as the enemy. This could be one that either hates Gotham as a city or hates Batman personally, the same way the Riddler hated Thomas Wayne and many of the politicians that corrupted the city. This would also be someone who could get under Batman's cape and manipulate him psychologically. But who could take up such a mantle and dismantle all that work that Batman, Gotham City, and the new mayor have put in to rebuild the corrupt society? Well, even though I know many people will instantly point fingers towards the Joker in that case, since that's basically what he was trying to do with Batman as well as Gotham City in The Dark Knight, that's exactly why he shouldn't be the next villain. For one thing, the latter, exposing Gotham City as corrupt, is already what the Riddler was doing in the first movie, but on top of the Joker already having a tainted reputation in this world, he's the most overused villain in the movies thus far, and his motivations for carrying out the actions of ruining Batman's reputation have been done to death already. Just let Joaquin Phoenix have fun with Harley Quinn and try someone else. I'm also cutting out creature-based villains like Man-Bat, Killer Croc, or even Bane, since they might be too over-the-top for a world like this, as well as too easy of a threat to establish. Like, would you follow up Matt Reeves' deep exploration of corrupt societies and how a psychologically tortured character like Batman would handle that with, oh, a giant monster, I need to stop it from killing people? Save villains like that for when the franchise is low on fumes. No, to logically follow up the events of the first movie, we would need a villain that would resent the city and tear it down for their own deeds, and one that could fit into the mold for that is Mr. Freeze. For those who don't know, Mr. Freeze's dramatic plotline involves him trying to relieve his wife of a disease that could kill her if a cure isn't found. Imagine if the entire city is against him in that scenario for the sake of rebuilding itself, and he resented it for that. Just an idea, but I think it could work. Of course, you also gotta think of a villain that could get under the skin of some of the higher authorities of the city, and who better to dig into another man's chlorophyll than Poison Ivy? Disclaimer, I am not at all suggesting a Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze crossover. That was one of the weakest aspects of Batman and Robin, and I do not want to see that happen again. Again, this could be a case where she resents the city for not backing her in her pursuit of saving her precious plant life, and even though it's never really been emphasized in previous incarnations of Batman, like not even Batman and Robin, a reworked version of the character could be designed to attract as well as bringing the worst aspects out of Batman and or Bruce Wayne, especially with Pattinson's version being younger than most other incarnations. But even though these characters could make decent background villains, much like the Penguin or Falcone in the first movie, I think for the main bad guy, we should start eyeballing that open district attorney position. You know, since the last one lost his head, so to speak. In a movie series where the line is already blurred between good and evil, Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, could establish the duality dilemma that could lead to many philosophical explorations. If he were to become Two-Face the way he did in the comics, i.e. by Maroni spilling acid on his face and Batman not being able to save him in time, that could lead him to question whether meaning well is good enough in this world and what to do when the crime has higher power. Plus, One thing about the character that wasn't fully explored before is how the world, not just a few people in the background, would perceive such a monstrous look as half of one's face being burnt off. Matt Reeves' version of Gotham is already walking on a tightrope, and seeing such a terrifying face as their DA might be enough to send a few people over the edge. So, whether you have interesting characters like Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy, or simple straightforward bad guys like Penguin or Killer Croc as the background villains, Two-Face should undoubtedly be the main villain in The Batman 2. But who do you think should be the next villain? Do you agree with my picks, or do you think someone else would better suit the story? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button as well as that subscribe button, as I have fresh takes like this every Friday, as well as quick reviews on all the best new releases. I'm CM Waters, and I'll see you soon.